kidding, we're live.
So Cody, we got 3 bikes here.
Yeah.
3 Yamaha YZ250s. They're all a little bit different. What's going on here?
Okay, so got different builds here for different scenarios, right? So this bike here in the middle with the Charger running right now, this has the Fish Moto E-Start on it. And this bike will be going to Hawaii because there's not much prep time on this bike. So we're going to Hawaii mostly because I'm worried if it rains, I won't be able to stand on the mud clay and actually be able to kick it. So this bike here is the King of Motos race bike. And I do not have the E-Start on this bad boy, but I do have a special clutch that I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in North America that's got.
What makes it special?
So it's actually out of Italy, and I got a Brembo master cylinder on this bike. And if we come down here to the ignition cover, it actually replaces out the whole stock push rod system, I guess, or it's a pull rod more really on the stock one, but I actually have like a slave cylinder mounted in here that's like a custom built slave, and it like pushes and actuates the clutch. So it's basically like having any new modern bike clutch on there. Feels pretty good.
It does feel good.
Yeah.
But if you have that clutch, you can't have the E-Start.
Yeah, the way the gear system is on the E-Start, it like encompasses that space where the slave is mounted. And I actually have a GYTR flywheel weight, the stock X flywheel weight's a little bit smaller. It's obviously bigger than the motocross flywheel, but I couldn't fit the flywheel weight, so I actually had to take it to my suspension guy, and we put it on a lathe and removed material on the flywheel weight. So it's like a fully custom setup that I'm pretty sure I'm the only guy that has this.
Damn.
Obviously.
How big of a difference did the flywheel make on this thing?
It makes a pretty big difference. I rode it stock a little bit, obviously with you a little in Arizona, and then at home, I don't think I even touched it after I rode with you. I went straight to work stripping these things down, and I did ride the stock X weight on here when I first got the clutch mounted because I realized I couldn't fit the flywheel weight, and it's a lot more like zappy and playful, a little less like not quite as smooth with the stock setup. So and then honestly with the GYTR flywheel weight, I think it's 7.2 ounces, but it doesn't really matter the weight, it's just where the weight's located. There's a lot of weight on the outside, like so bigger radius, it's more like a rotating mass on the outside. So I took the outside weight off, and I still have weight on there, so it's like a kind of middle ground. But for me, the like maximum flywheel weight they had was almost too sluggish. It was like a turbo spool had to spool up before it went.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and whereas the E-Start bike, it's somewhere in the middle of this bike and the GYTR flywheel weight. So that's 6-something ounces.
So each bike probably feels a bit different.
Yeah, so this bike is pretty much spot on to what my practice bike, which I've been running on. So I'm most comfortable right now on this bike. I did all the photos and video shoot on the E-Start bike just to put time on that before it goes to Hawaii, because I literally started it at home at 10 p.m. and made sure the clutch worked, and we packed it and came here.
I like it. It seems like you're getting to really exercise your engineering like side of you, getting these bikes set up.
Yeah, I think that's been another fun aspect of it. It's basically a job resume to hand to Yamaha when I'm done and be like, hey, look what I did on my own.
How receptive has Yamaha been to all these changes? Are they supportive of anything that you want to do?
Yeah, I think so. Like, they haven't said no to anything yet. I mean, I think their biggest concern is that I have blue plastics and the Yamaha logos on the bike, and you know, everyone's like, get a Fanic, and I'm like, well, that defeats the whole purpose of what I'm doing.
Right.
Like, that's not, it's a Yamaha chassis, but that's kind of where it ends there. So it's been really cool, and I've had a lot of support from Yamaha, whether it's through the race department. I mean, they built me custom one-off like fan mounts here on my radiators. So the stock 250X doesn't come stock with a fan, while the 250FX comes with a fan. So this is like an FX fan. It's really tucked away in there tight, but they mocked up the X radiators for me.
Where's the battery?
So it's tucked away back here under the seat. I guess we can take it off here in a sec and show you guys. But yeah, it's an own closed loop system because there's no recharging on it. So I have a switch here on the bars and turn that off and on when I need it.
So there's no recharging?
Not on the fly. I guess I carry a battery in my pack.
That's why this one's on the charger right now.
This one's on the charger just for the e-start, because I've got about 60 starts on it now, and we never even charged the battery from the get-go, so.
Is that stressful? Knowing that it's not recharging itself and you got a fan and an e-start?
Well, this bike, I have 2 batteries back here. We should really, I don't know how I got the second battery.
You got a kickstart too, right? So
and
if
a
it
kickstart
fails,
backup.
So it's like, okay, even if it, how much weight does that all add? Like where is this thing at?
About 9-something pounds with the e-start and battery. But then I added another battery here for the fans, so I probably added 11 pounds to this bike.
What do you notice the weight, or does it make it better?
I don't notice it when I'm riding, the difference between these 2 bikes. The biggest thing is I can notice it a hair more when I put this bike on the stand, but it's crazy how light this bike feels compared to what I came off of before, because there's nothing to these bikes. Like the stock bike has barely enough power on the stator to have a spark for the spark plug, and that's about it. So you have I'm definitely not gonna have any electronical issues this year, and if it is, it's on me for adding whatever I added to the bike if there's an issue.
The Yamahas are definitely simple, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a really good, simple platform, and the base foundation is so good. Like I was talking to the guys at Yamaha, and like, there's obviously been changes since 06, but they went to this style frame back then, and that bike for Supercross had to be incredible in 06, because it's a slightly updated version now.
Exactly.
From where it's been.
And Chad Reed always talks about how much he loved that bike.
Yeah, I understand why.
Yeah, they're good. And the chassis dialed, like they don't really need chassis updates. It seems like really, like to make a YZ250 into a competitive enduro bike, they need electric start, hydraulic clutch, and a gearbox.
A little bit more flywheel, yeah. Different, and like you don't really even need a 6-speed. It's just like the older WR.
That's nice to have though.
They had a wide ratio 5-speed. So, honestly, if I could just get first and second lower, it wouldn't be an issue for me, because third's already a little bit lower on the X from the motocross model, but the stock bike goes so fast. I'm like, I don't need to go.
And did you consider putting a 300 kit in this, or were you like, no, I'm just gonna run the 250 from the start?
Yeah.
What's the pros and cons of that?
I'm pretty much set on running a 250 for the year. I haven't heard the best things about mounting the bigger jug on there, and there's like, Athena makes a 300, someone makes a 325, which would be ridiculous. But it just kind of like, just because you put a 300 cylinder on your bike doesn't make it an enduro monster.
No.
There's a lot more than just that.
Totally.
So I'm gonna probably make this bike almost more difficult to ride. It'll be a fire-breathing dragon with a 300 on there.
Well, and 300s, it's gonna make it vibrate differently.
Yeah, they vibrate more.
It's not naturally.
I heard they get a little bit hotter. It's gonna be even thirstier than it already is on fuel. So, yeah, at this point, I'm honestly happy with the power output. It's just, like I said in the press conference, the only time I really have an issue where it's like dead stop on a hill trying to get going. And, I fixed it with the gearing, but now my max speed is not great. Once we go east, I'll never have an issue. Here, if I get the whole shot, which I will, because this thing starts, yeah, like halfway through the stroke, it's going to be going on. The rear tires are rotating already.
Yeah.
So,
dude, it is crazy.
I wonder if I kick hard enough in gear, if I can just not even use the clutch, just take off.
Probably. You should try it, because you're going to get spin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to spin. I remember watching
quarter throttle and just kick it with the hand. Yeah.
I remember watching Lance Smale do a dead engine start at a works race on a YZ250, like when I was like on the 80s or something, and I couldn't believe it. It almost was faster than a live engine start.
Yeah.
It was crazy. He was moving.
I practiced one the other day, and some of the other IRC guys were there, and Petrie was there, and I'm like, you guys are done! I yelled at him because it started so quick.
I love that. I noticed something going on with the rim lock situation. Is that something that you want to talk to us about?
Yeah, I can talk about it now. Like, obviously, I've been trying to keep it under wraps so no one had a mental advantage on me, whether it's good or bad, but I've been having a lot of trust in it. But this is NewTek's new system. Obviously, NewTek owns Nitro Moose, but I think they're calling it the NewTek bead lock. So it's basically the modern day tubeless. So it's a new update on the tubeless. We don't have that bladder in there anymore. So like there's no risk of pinching it. it's the same mounting process where you like drop the rim into the tire and then mount both sides, but you don't have to worry about having that tube pinch, so it's a mechanical inner bead lock, essentially.
So it's a 360-degree mechanical bead lock.
Yeah, like the rock crawlers out here, you see like the bead lock on the exterior of the rim?
It's on the inside.
This is an interior one, which kind of sucks the bead in there. And then I'm also running, they started producing them. It's still like a prototype thing. I think it should be out pretty soon, but like they wanted me to talk about it, so it'll be here. But there's like a half mousse.
Like a hollowed out mousse?
Yeah, the inside of the mousse is gone. The inner diameter's out, and it's like the exterior mousse, and even the exterior is a different shape. It has like channels in it, so like you can still obviously get a flat if I get a slice in the tire, right? Which I happen on my practice bike at home. But if I run slime, and they have these channels for the slime to kind of move around in there. So
does it
it's
seal?
a pretty foolproof way to seal off. And even if I do, like I ran 0 PSI from the get-go. I had a 140 style half mousse and a 110 tire with 0 PSI, and it was absolutely perfect with no air in it. And then I was hitting desert whoops, and I think it's a mixture of the YZ chassis and this tire setup with like the solid bead, but still have like some cushion on the outside. I have air in there right now, so it's kind of stiff.
How much air are you running?
I have no idea. That's probably 6 PSI right now. Heated up a little bit.
I mean, this could be revolutionary.
Yeah. But I was like 5th gear tap through whoops the other day, and like the bike was straight. Whereas last year you kind of start, the tire's a little too soft, or suspensions are soft mixed with that too. And you start wallowing a little bit.
Are you changing suspension settings between different races, or do you have like one setting that you're going with?
Pretty much one standard setting. Here I was riding my brand new bike that I barely rode yesterday. So obviously this, like, no matter what the bike is, there's a little bit of like chassis break-in time, right? So it was a little rigid compared to what I had been riding, so I softened it up a hair. Nothing crazy.
Love it. And you're running a standard mousse up front, it looks like?
Yeah, standard mousse. I have a platinum mousse up front, which is like their stiffer one.
Yeah, that's what I got too. But this, so even if you cut the tire, then that half mousse is still enough to give you enough like inflation where it's not going to be, it'll still
I'll
hold
survive.
up.
I'll get through.
You'll survive.
And it'll be better than the original tubeless.
And because it's,
there, you know?
since it's 360-degree rim lock, you don't have to worry about your tire coming off.
It's never coming off. Not coming off at all.
Is it a pain to tighten all these things, or is there some sort of power tool that you can get in there with?
So yeah, I need to get a 90-degree little hand.
Yes.
Ryobi, of course, just so everyone
gets mad at you.
More on my
You're riding Yamahas and using Ryobis?
Yeah. I'm the everman, you know?
Hey man, you gotta.
Hey, I found out Ryobi and Milwaukee is like the same owner, the same factory, so everyone can suck it.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, does it really matter anyway?
No, it works.
It doesn't matter.
So yeah, it so far it's been super solid. And then another, I don't know, I guess on the stock bike, I think all Japanese bikes is the way the swing arm is designed. They're like very well known for losing the chain guide tabs.
Oh,
so
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I've had to like I had to send it to someone to fully beef up that front tab. So I have like a bunch of aluminum material.
Oh, it's welded.
Yeah, it's all welded on. And then I got
gusseted and welded.
These bulletproof design chain guide tab protectors, I guess. So.
Dude, these wheels look sick. What's going on with the Han wheels?
I'm going just some sweet mag colored hubs.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. So yeah, Excel, Tagasako. I didn't do like the crazy heavy A60 wheels.
Really?
They're more rigid, and like we don't
need that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna destroy my wheels anyways on rocks dragging them. So.
Are you running a 110?
Yeah, for here.
Why running a 110 instead of the 140?
So here, faster speeds, a lot more rocks and stuff. Like for me, I like having that little bit better bead hold up, and I haven't had any time on the 140 JX8 yet. I rode the other one a little bit, but tires get destroyed out here. So this tire has a little bit taller knobs, stronger sidewall for the desert. I feel like this is going to be the best option for me.
Well, these bikes are looking...
I like mixing it up with people, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and everybody always automatically assumes that whatever the newest and the latest thing is better, which is obviously not true. Obviously, you're running a bike that's the same engineering from 2006. Yeah. You're running last year's tire model, but it's by choice. Yeah. And because this bike is still good, and that tire is what you want for this ride, so it doesn't matter. And as we know, none of it matters anyway.
Yeah.
It's all, it really doesn't. It's all mental.
You just got to charge through. I actually did like a power valve swap out, like change the cams that open and close the power valve. So it's called hitless.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so it almost just like opens the power valve up sooner and more smooth, right? Like the stock cam, you look at these channels and grooves and it's super jarring effect, like an exponential power output.
For the exhaust coming out?
Yeah, for the exhaust coming out, and the hitless is very smooth and gradual. And then I kind of partnered that with the TSP head from South Bay Performance. I have the high comp head for my house because I'm at 7,400 feet. So I think anything around 5,000 to 6,000 feet and above, I'll be on a high comp head. And then here at King of Motos this weekend, most of the year I'll be on a medium comp head. So Silver Kings and Donner, I'll go back to the high comp head as well.
Do you have to run race fuel for that?
Yeah, I'm running race fuel anyways, actually, just to kind of clean things up and for consistency. Because you never know what you're going to get.
Too.
And we're in California here. They got weird summer gas.
Can I get a little
winter
whiff of
gas.
that?
Yeah, you can go for it. There's a little bit of mix in there right now.
It's pretty good.
So I'm running, it's not crazy race fuel. I'm running Sunoco 260 GT, which is 100 octane. So it's like basically a really good high quality fuel that's not like overbearing on your...
That sounds nice.
Yeah, 100 octane is all you need.
I feel like that would help make up the ground a little bit for the 300 engines too.
Yeah,
like it probably gives you a little bit more
It just helps kind of clean up the jetting because otherwise it's going to be a little lean. And this just cleaned up the jetting a little bit and gave a little bit more like pop right off the bottom.
Dude, and this looks pretty sleek. I'm actually liking the look of this.
I'm liking it too. So I needed an upgrade because I've scratched all my little Garmin E-Trexes. Like,
they're all beat.
We can't see. I'm running 2 of them, and I'm like, I'm just going to invest the money and, you know, hopefully get the win this weekend so it pays for itself.
Totally.
And then some. But this mount is literally a janky bicycle mount for this. I don't know. It was like a handlebar clamp mount. And I'm like, I think the bolts are going to match up. Oh, I have this. Oh, yeah. So we can take that off.
Is it going to stay?
So see those couple bolts in there? No, this locks in. So like when I screw that in, it won't come undone. But yeah, I took this mount apart and then it mounts right to the XC Gear Mako 360 top clamp.
What?
Yeah, I didn't even have to do any work. Came with Loctite on already.
How did the bolts line up?
Yeah, so you can't see obviously, but underneath the Renthal bar pad, there's the Mako 360 makes a top clamp for GPS units or anything you want to mount to your bars. So he's got a bunch of preset holes that are already pre-tapped. And I could rotate this either way and it fits right into
Did you consider running it vertically?
I did, but it sticks out.
The antenna would catch on your brake cable.
That was my worry, yeah. I can maybe try and get it back a hair, but then I'm like, I already got a nut smasher on my tank. Another nut smasher.
Double nut smasher.
And then I'll break it off with my balls of steel.
Exactly, we don't want that.
Can't put that part in there. It was good though.
What's this?
Oh, so this is, I don't know, it's from Carbon Solutions. I bought it, but also give them a shout out.
Is it just a cover?
Basically the stock like steering head, like it's really easy to get water and mud in those bearings. So it's just a cap to keep water. And there's actually little O-rings in there. So when you clamp it on, it just keeps grime out of the bearings.
What's Yamaha, when you talk to them, are they doing this and supporting you through all this with any hopes of, you know, taking what you learn from this and then building an enduro bike? I know everybody wants to know. Is Yamaha coming out with an enduro bike?
I really want to know myself. They're pretty secretive. Like obviously there's interest there, right? Like they got me on board and I was kind of more of a last minute thing. Like I just reached out on a whim and right off the bat there was a lot of interest to have another off-road guy. I'm like, okay, something going on here. And I think they realize 80% of their sales is like off-road motorcycles like this. So there was a benefit to having someone like myself representing them, and then they got Caleb Russell now too, right? So I feel it's funny, right? Like everyone sees Caleb, they're like, we need a 350.
Yeah.
And then everyone sees me, they're like, we need a 300.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe we'll end up somewhere in the middle, who knows?
That's all people want to know is when's Yamaha coming out with a 350 and when are they coming out with a 300 two-stroke?
I don't have an answer. I don't think they even have an answer. I wish I had
Well, if they did have an answer, maybe they're just keeping it.
We should just pump it up. Yeah, I heard it's like next week.
Yeah. Well, the bikes look good, Cody. I'm excited to see how you do.
Yeah, I'm very, very proud of the build. I had Adam come out 2 different times, help me finish these things up. A lot of work behind the scenes, but it came together. We came here fully ready to go and ready to rip.
Well, hoping the best for you. You're the man to beat
you.
this weekend, so have fun.
That's it. I'm in their heads. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, exactly. When you're doing something different, and I feel like there's like a certain level of excitement coming in. I mean, you're probably going to learn. You're probably going to learn a lot at this round 1. You know what I mean? It's always so much to learn at races.
There's so much for me to learn. Like even yesterday or 2 days ago, riding that bike, like learning the McGurks. I hadn't ridden it yet, and all the week. Like I've had obviously a lot of time on the bike. I'm comfortable on it. It wasn't in the normal type of training I'm doing into this first race, but you know, it's nice to say that like you've touched or had an influence on every single piece of this bike.
For sure.
Chose what you wanted to be outfitted on it, and you know, here we are, and somehow I made it happen all down to the wire.
Love it. Well, go kill it. Have fun.
Yeah, thank you.